Hello, my name is Alfredo Padilla, and today I'm here to explain how an air-to-air split system heat pump works. If your house is currently running on 100% electricity, there's a chance that you currently have a split system installed in your home. And so the reason they're called a split system is because they're two separate units. There's an outdoor unit and an indoor unit. The outdoor unit is commonly referred to as a condensing unit, and the indoor unit is commonly known as a furnace or an air handling unit. And as you can see, they both have heat exchange coils, and they are both connected with copper tubing. And that copper tubing usually has refrigerant, and that refrigerant either cools or heats your house depending on what settings you currently have in your split system. And so the reason we use refrigerant is because of its low boiling point. As you can see, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas refrigerant 134A boils at a much lower temperature, negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'll get to why it's important that we need such a low boiling point. So the main components of a split system are the compressor, the reversing valve, expansion valve, an outdoor coil, and an indoor coil. And what this picture is illustrating right now is a heat setting where it's heating up the house. And how this happens is that refrigerant comes out of the compressor at high temperature, high pressure vapor, so it's really hot, and it goes inside into the indoor unit, into the coil, and it's really hot there, and so this fan blows air from inside the house, which is much cooler than the coil, and it blows air across that coil, keeping that hot air inside the house, but at the same time, it is cooling down the refrigerant inside that coil. And so when the refrigerant leaves the coil, it's still high pressure, at high-ish temperature, because now it's lower temperature, and it goes into the expansion valve. The expansion valve does just that. It expands the refrigerant, causing it to have low pressure and low temperature, meaning that it's really cold. And now the refrigerant's going into the outside coil, and once it's going into the outside coil really cold, the air from the outside is grabbed by this fan and blown across the coil, warming up the refrigerant. And the reason I say warming up is because, remember, the refrigerant has a really low boiling temperature. And so as long as the outside air is not lower than negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit, the refrigerant inside this coil is still boiling. And so when it comes out, it is a vapor, but it's low pressure and low temperature. And it goes into the compressor, and it repeats the cycle. Now, if you wanted it to cool your house, it would do the same thing. It's just backwards. It flip-flops. This reversing valve would cause the high temperature, high pressure vapor to go into the condensing unit, and so now the hot air is blown out, cooling down the refrigerant. So by the time it goes to the expansion joint, it comes inside, it is really cold, and it goes inside, and now the warm air inside the house blows across the cool coil, and it cools your house. And then it goes back into the compressor, and it repeats the cycle. And so that's how a split system works. Thank you for listening.